All right, today we're going to try and get inside the mind of an AI. We're tackling a question that, on the surface, seems pretty simple. But trust me, the answer is a whole lot stranger, and honestly, way more fascinating than you probably think. Let's get right into it. So think about it. When you ask something like ChatGPT a question, where is it going to find the answer? It feels like it has the entire internet tucked away somewhere, doesn't it? Like this huge, perfectly organized library of everything it's ever read. And yeah, that's what most of us would guess, right? It's just a gigantic hard drive, a digital library of Alexandria, holding perfect, pristine copies of every book, every article, every website. You ask it for the capital Mongolia, and it just zips over to the Mongolia file and reads you the answer. Easy. But what if that's not what's happening at all? Because if it were that simple, AI would behave in a totally different way. The reality is much, much weirder, and it has less to do with storage and more to do with something else entirely. Okay, so here's the big twist. The AI doesn't actually store the raw data. It doesn't keep a copy of that Wikipedia article you read last week. Nope. Instead, it digests all of that information and creates something completely new, an incredibly complex, mind-bogglingly huge web of patterns, rules, and relationships between all those words and ideas. Probably the best way to get your head around this is to just stop thinking about a computer for a second. Let's think about a human brain instead. Now, it's not a perfect one-to-one analogy, but you know what? It gets us surprisingly close to how this whole thing actually works. Let's just compare them for a sec. Think about a cat. You don't have a high-res photo of every single cat you've ever laid eyes on stored in your head, right? Of course not. What you have is, well, the idea of a cat, the gist of what makes a cat a cat. An AI is kind of the same. It doesn't store pictures of cats. It learns the mathematical pattern of catness. And just like you've probably forgotten the exact book where you first learned about cats, the AI also forgets the original text it was trained on. And these AI versions of neural connections, they have a technical name, parameters. And all they are numbers, billions and billions of them that get tweaked and fine-tuned during the training process. Every single number is a tiny piece of a pattern. And when you get them all together, this giant sea of numbers, that is the AI's knowledge. It's not a library filled with facts. It's more like a massive single equation that's trying to describe the world. And when I say massive, I really mean it. A model like GPT-3 has 175 billion parameters. That's the mind-bending scale of this web of patterns we're talking about here. It's a structure of almost unimaginable complexity, and it's all built to do one thing: predict what word is most likely to come next. So here's why this is so important. Once you get that AIs learn patterns, not facts, almost all of their strange, sometimes brilliant, sometimes weird behaviors start to make sense. This one idea is the key. It's how we start to understand the ghost in the machine. It really does explain so much. You know when an AI hallucinates and just completely makes something up? It's not because it found bad info in its library. It's just generating an answer that sounds statistically plausible, based on the patterns it knows. This is also how it can be so creative. It's just mixing and matching those patterns in new, unexpected ways. And this is a big one. It's why asking an AI to cite its source is so hard. It doesn't have a source to point to, just the faintest statistical echo of one, buried deep, deep down in those billions of numbers. So the fundamental way we need to think about this has to shift. It's not about retrieval, like looking something up in a book. It's about generation, creating something new from scratch. Literally every single answer you get from an AI is a brand new creation, woven together right then and there from that mathematical web of patterns. And that really leads us to a much deeper, kind of philosophical place. Because if an AI's knowledge is just this incredibly complex set of interconnected patterns, what does that imply about our own? I mean, really think about it for a second. Our own memories aren't perfect recordings, are they? They're reconstructions. They're influenced by our emotions, all stored in this messy web of neural connections. So as these AI models get more and more complex, we have to start asking, if knowledge is just a web of learned connections, how fundamentally different is an AI's mind from our own? That's a question I think we're all going to be wrestling with for a long, long time. If you liked this video, please remember to subscribe. It really helps us out to make more of these videos. Tell your friends. Also, remember to check out our other channel with all these concepts explained as a caveman. It's great fun. Link in description.